till now what we have seen is basic operations management. We went across different definitions. We saw operations management as a system, okay, wherein we looked at when we talk about as a system, that means input, a conversion or a transformation subsystem, and an output with a control system or a feedback. With this feedback basically gets provided to your conversion or transformation system as well as to the inputs for controlling the efficiency of the system and ensuring that the objectives are being met. Okay, for every operations management, your objectives include efficiency of the business operations, resource utilization, increasing the content of the value added activities. I think there ensuring alignment with the vision, mission, and market opportunities, and at the end of the day, a satisfied customer. Okay, and when we look at it from organization's perspective, we'll say profits, earnings, revenue. Okay, so every organization goes with that motive. Now, some problem. So we looked at the external entities which are involved in the inputs, market dependent entities. Then we looked at primary resources. So basically inputs can be broadly categorized into three parts. The conversion system can be in the form of a physical, locational, exchange services, storage services, and other. When we talk about outputs, broadly we can categorize them in two parts, direct and indirect outputs. Fine. Then we looked at some examples of operations. We also talked about the evolution of operations management. Though we say it started from production, okay, or rather the factory management from, but prior to that, even though it started somewhere when people started looking at inventory management. So from there, inventory management to factory management to production management, and today we are the scope of this has changed to not only just production but also services, and hence we call it as operations management. Are we okay up to now? Then
Yes, sir.
we looked at the three important aspects which are involved in operations management. So broadly, planning, organizing, and controlling. We looked at what all things do we cover under planning. Okay, when we talk about organizing, we are actually talking about job design, work design, sequencing, uh, work measurement, not only just work measurement, but also when we talk about whatever our deliverables are, so deliverable measurements. Okay, so you all would have heard about KRAs, KPIs. So those are the very important aspects which nowadays people use for measuring work. Okay, then we talk about controlling is nothing but ensuring or rather reducing the deviation from your desired objective, the objective that you want to achieve. So what we try to do is we try to reduce that deviation. So we want it to be very much reaching the goal. Now earlier there used to be, we used to when we talk about a war scenario, okay, we used to identify a target, fix it, then shoot. Okay, So that was the earlier scenario. Then if we are talking if we are talking about missile systems, so after that, then came another system more advanced and evolved, wherein we started having heat seek missiles. That means wherever the heat is, accordingly it will start taking that direction. Then people came up with ideas of how to fool that also. Then we came up with even advanced versions, which we are talking about self-guided missiles. So that means once we have locked it to a target, automatically it goes and hits it. Even if the target is moving, it will change its path and accordingly do it. Now what is actually being done is your target is being continuously measured, appropriately a feedback is being provided, and that feedback basically helps in changing the course. Now the same thing is being done, or rather we can say being adopted by business conglomerates too. What they do is they devise their processes in such a way that if, whenever there is a change in the market, accordingly their processes start adopting. So we started talking about lean management. Okay, if there is a change in the demand pattern, accordingly we are going to decide how much we should produce, how much we should not produce, whether we should be placed strategically in a specific market, do we want to replicate in multiple markets, or if required, again shrink back. Okay, so the concepts, all the concepts when we are talking about operations management have actually evolved from war. Okay, war zones, from there to business, and from businesses it has again gone back to the military operations. Okay, uh, are we okay up to this? Anything that you would like to ask me?
No, sir. Okay.
Okay, okay. Then we looked at different level of operations. We said that operations can be seen at three different levels. One is a supply network level, operation level, and process level. So we are actually referring to macro to micro operations. Okay, so we can get down to the level of activities. Okay, simple activities. Then we talked about typology of operations in terms of volumes. Okay, when the volumes are high, what kind of operations, what would be the characteristics of operations? In case of low volumes, what would be the characteristics of operations? Then we looked at the same thing in the light of variety, variation in demand. Then we talked about visibility of operations across the processes. Okay, then we talked about role of operations, three different roles: a role as an implementer, as a supporter, and then as a driver. Okay, implementer is the basic state from where it actually starts. As the your operational capabilities matures or become even more uh, streamlined, optimized, it starts taking the role of a supporter, and further going, it becomes, it takes the driver seat. Okay, that means your operations becomes so matured that it starts helping you in terms of defining uh, new strategies. Okay, fine up to this.
Yes, sir.
uh, if you talk about companies like Samsung, Apple, these are the companies which basically have highly optimized operations and they are able to drive. Okay, that's why you will always see their products would be very innovative. Okay, at the same time, when we talk about companies like Oppo, Redmi, they basically are at this level. okay, wherein their operations are quite optimized and are able to follow and imitate the leaders. At the same time, they have developed certain things because of which they are able to very closely follow the leaders. Okay, these leaders are, if we talk about Apple, definitely not, they are not leader in terms of volumes. Okay, in terms of volumes, we can always say Samsung is the leader. But when we talk about driving what kind of product should be there, or should be leading the market, yes, Apple is a leader. Okay, similarly, OnePlus is also a leader in its own. Okay, anything that we would like to seek more clarity here?
No, sir.
In the initial stages, this is more of a firefighting kind of. If you have a situation, you are supposed to fix them. That's it. Okay, so it implements your strategy. Now, uh, it can be actually seen at 4 different levels. Okay, just a second. Uh, at 4 different levels. Okay, stage one, that is where we are only just trying to fix the problem. Okay, a new problem comes, we fix it, and we formulate our strategies. Okay, we start defining our operations. Operations, basically the activities which we are going to perform again and again. Okay, so we start defining the processes. Out of that, when we have looking at different scenarios, we have different processes, so we start adopting the best one. That's your stage 2. Your operations matures to a level wherein we are able to implement the strategy. We move forward and we start linking your strategy with the operations. That means your strategy, your operations starts supporting your strategy. So based on your operational capabilities, you are able to take up strategies which are being supported by your operations. Okay, so your operational capability enhances. uh, this is a state wherein the company is internally supportive. Prior to this, that company was externally neutral, means it doesn't matter what external or other companies' practices are. They are only just trying to stabilize themselves. Okay, here what happens is they become they start following the leaders within that industry. And the last stage is the stage where your operations mature to a level wherein you are able to define or formulate new strategies depending upon your